Welcome to The Global Girlfriend.
Shall we book a trip to Singapore?
Yep.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to the Global Girlfriend podcast. My name's Morgan.
And my name's Brianna.
And we're your host of the Global Girlfriend podcast. We're a podcast that's all about travel, living internationally, all the stories, connection, fun, and real things that go into that. And so we're always excited to be here. And as we pick our topics, usually, or have the people pick our topics, we're usually pretty passionate about the topics here. So again, here we are, excited as ever. And today's episode is the travel things we will never stop doing. So basically, think about if you've ever written a non negotiable list, for a job, for a relationship, whatever, where you want to live. Think of that, but now apply it to just travel in general. So Brianna and I are going to share, they might come off as tips, but we really want them to come off of just kind of just share those random things through all our years and years of travel that we just will not negotiate on. Like whatever trip it is, we're bringing this with us, or this is how we're planning it. So we want to share the ins and out of that. Okay, let's kind of like break it down. Let's start with maybe some of our non-negotiables as we are planning, because that's kind of before the trip. We're getting in the mindset, we're making the plans. Let's just start with that. Do you have any that come to mind as far as planning goes of your non-negotiables?
I think for me, one of my non negotiables in planning is making sure that I don't fill the entire day with activities. I think in the days of my youth, I used to try and cram like a million activities into one day. And while that can be fun, especially if you only have a short amount of time, wherever it is that you're traveling to, I really think that I love to have a couple of things that I want to do throughout the day. But then I, one, want to leave room for spontaneity. And two, I want to leave room to take things slow and relax and enjoy things. So my travel non negotiable is there has to be some free time in the day. What about you?
Okay, love that because it also just like opens up the possibilities of the really cool things that you didn't expect to come in to the scene. Okay, for me, one of my non negotiables is I will always download an offline map just in case you're out of service or whatnot. Like you have that ready to go. Like you can load how you're going to get places if you need it, or you could just get lost. But when I download the offline map, and then I also like to look up neighborhoods and kind of mark areas that I want to go to, maybe some cool cafes or sites that you have to see in a place. And so I'll mark those on my map and kind of like keep the mindset like there's some that I have to get to, but then like you kind of said, I like to keep it a little bit open, like okay, well, I do want to go to this area, so if we do happen to like logistically get our way over there, here are some couple places as options, like if we're looking for a place to have a coffee, or but I like to keep it open if we see a place as well. So that's kind of in my planning, maps and offline maps. And yeah.
Super essential. Another one for me when it comes to planning, and this is something that I hope to continue doing forever, is if I know I only have 4 or 5 days, or even if I have a little bit longer on a trip, I am maximizing every single day. I want to arrive as early as possible and I want to leave as late as possible. I am fine with getting home the night before I have to go back to work at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Does not bother me. I have absolutely no problem waking up early for a flight if I know that that means I'm going to get basically a full extra day. I hate sort of like those midday flights on travel days because I feel like you almost lose 2 days of your trip. So I am all about the early arrival and the late departure if that means that I get to have a longer trip in essence.
Oh my goodness, I'm right there with you. I do not care. I'll get home at 3 a.m. before I have to work, and I'm just loving it. I guess some other kind of non negotiables, if I'm traveling with other people, with friends, in a group, and even with like my now husband, Danny, I love to create a document, kind of like a spreadsheet that organize it, that kind of breaks down sometimes a spreadsheet, sometimes like a document, a Google Doc, and like to organize it like, okay, how many days are we spending in a place? what accommodation and address are we staying at? And also, I do like to keep in mind the price and the budget. And so like to create a spreadsheet with the budget just so we can keep in mind, like, here's how much we're spending on accommodation, on transportation, on random activities. So I'll always do that. And usually with, going with some gal pals, as we've said on podcasts before, love Splitwise. So we'll create a Splitwise just to start keeping that organized so everyone feels like they're in the know and it's fair. So that for me is also a non-negotiable in the planning world.
I love that. And then also, an aside, when it comes to that planning document, because I make the same thing as well, I find that, being a host of a travel podcast and being travelers like we are, our friends and families often ask us for advice when they're traveling to places that they know we have been before. And it's actually so helpful to be able to just pull up that Google document that you had with where you went, what you did, where you stayed, how much it cost. And like usually I'll put my confirmation email or something like that for the booking.com link. And so then literally when someone says, do you have any advice? You're like, well, yes, here is actually my entire trip. Here's
Here it
everything
is.
that I did. And people love those and they tend to, rely on those for when they're having their own trip. So it's a really, really helpful way to pay your planning forward, I guess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you might be seeing that come to play in our travel guides to come. So, woohoo. Okay. I guess also with planning comes packing. And so I feel like there's a lot of things we have to talk about, of things that we each have to pack on a trip, or just maybe even how we go about it. I am a last second packer, like that's for sure. And as always, I try to pack as light as possible. And sometimes, it's better than others, but 100%, if it's possible to just do a carry on, I will just do a carry on, because you genuinely save yourself like 45 minutes to an hour, I feel like, at the airport, not having to go get your checked bag. What do you think? Like 45 to an hour?
Yeah, and I mean, you save time on both ends too, because if you don't have to check your luggage, you can just do online check-in and go straight to the
That's true.
gate. So you save so much time.
That is the way. Yeah, I guess with packing as well too, kind of, it doesn't help with weight, but it helps with space. I am passionate about the space saver bags. So not the ones where you use the vacuum, because what are you going to do when you're on the trip and you don't have a vacuum? But the one where you like roll it up and push the air out. It truly, I kid you not, I can fit so much in a regular backpack with those space saver bags. It is a little bit heavy because it's the same amount of
Mhm.
clothing.
Yeah.
But yes, all space saver bags forever. That is one thing I'm passionate about.
100%. I am on team carrying as little as possible. And this is something that I just, I say unapologetically, I don't think it makes me weak. I hate carrying heavy shit. I don't care what it is. I don't
I
like
do too.
carrying my groceries. I don't like carrying heavy bags. I don't I just don't like carrying heavy things. And I'm in the gym, I'm doing
Yeah.
weight training. I am happy with being strong. I think it's very important to be strong, but I just don't like carrying heavy stuff. And so I keep that in my mind when I am packing, and I will bring as little as possible, because there's nothing I hate more than like being on the bus with a super heavy backpack, or it's like the middle of
Oh
summer
my
and you're
gosh.
sweating and you have like all this heavy stuff that you have to carry. Like it's hell on earth for me. So I don't do it.
Yes,
I pack
I'm there with
as
you.
I pack as little as possible, because for me, it helps me enjoy my trip more. And trust me, like if you are packing and you're like, this is what I'm definitely going to bring, and you have a maybe pile, leave the maybe pile at home. You're not going to wear it. You don't need it. Get rid of it. Bring as little as
Yes.
possible. So that's my traveling packing
Absolutely.
non-negotiable, where I'm
Okay,
I'm
wait,
not bringing anything.
yes. Okay, wait, two things to that. Like, I also feel like a good way to make sure not to have it too heavy is to really consider your shoe options. So,
Mm.
I know you want the cute shoes, but one, never bring shoes that aren't comfortable. Like, traveling, you're moving, you're getting on different public transports or any kind of transportation, you're walking, maybe you're hiking. You want
Mhm.
comfy. Okay, wait. You made me think of one question. I'm curious because I feel like there's two different types of people. When you are getting on a bus, so say you like get from the airport, you're getting on a bus and you have your backpack. Are you the type of person when you sit down in the bus, do you keep your backpack on when you sit, or do you take it off and put it in your lap?
Oh my gosh. Thank you for asking. This is something I am very passionate about.
Wait, I'm curious. I'm scared.
And I know, and I think it's because lived in Toronto and relied on public transportation for years. So how people behave on buses and subways is actually something that like really gets into the bottom of my soul if it's done correctly or incorrectly. So I take my backpack off and I put it on my lap. Same thing. If you have to stand and you're standing on the bus, you have to take your backpack off and put it in the front of you and put it down, put it on the ground, but do not be like a turtle on the bus because then there's not space for everybody else. I just feel like humanity is at its worst sometimes on that bus when you get off the airplane. And it's like, if everyone just put a little bit of thought into this, we could all be on this hell bus and into the airport faster, faster if people just followed my rules.
Okay.
Do you sit
I
down with it on your back?
okay. I kind of want to like punch myself in the face. Okay. I want. Okay. I am 100% with you in the sense of be considerate. Like I feel that I keep my head on the swivel. I'm a very considerate person. Like I always watch for the people around me and try not to bump into people, inconvenience people, or be
Yeah.
rude. I hate rude people. But I'm also kind of lazy because like I actually with you with like the heavy stuff, I'm always like, oh, and you're like taking it off and on. I'm like blah blah blah. And so when I sit down, like I just like sit with it on in the seat, and I just like have my like butt at like the edge of the seat, but like not too far out, but like, and
Yeah.
I do sit. But I had an experience once with in Germany after Oktoberfest with a friend, and she had her backpack on, and she wasn't as aware maybe as like the people around her. And this one guy literally so like seriously looked at her in the eye and said, "If you hit me one more time, I will hit you." And it was like I mean, it was crazy. And I was like, "Sir, I'm so sorry. Like she did not intentionally do this." And he was like and he goes, "I said if you hit me again." And I mean, everyone was like outraged. But so I mean, this was very extreme, but I think that if you're gonna keep your backpack on your back, you have to be considerate and mindful and not be whacking people with your backpack. You know what I mean?
Agreed. That's absolutely wild that that man said that. That's
That is
absolutely
wild.
insane.
I
But
know.
yes, if you are in the backpack on category, just be mindful. Don't be a wild turtle on the bus.
Wild turtles. So, do you have any non negotiable things that you pack on pretty much all your trips?
To be honest, this is something that I've started doing like maybe in the last few years and I really love it. It sounds ridiculous, but I love bringing those little face sheet masks. I feel like it's so nice to just because when you're traveling, you're in different climates. Sometimes you're out in the sun all day, or if you're skiing, it's
Mm-hmm.
windy. And I just feel like a really nice way to, again, feel luxurious, even if you're on a budget trip, is to be able to do a little face mask, a little reset, a little moisture, add a little bit of glow. It's just sort of like a nice way to end your trip at the end of the day. So now I always am putting a face mask in my, or a few face masks in my toiletry bags when I travel. What about you?
Oh, I love that. I love that. I've been doing that. I feel like you've inspired me. I'm going to do that on my trip coming up soon. But I like the eye mask ones too. For me, I mean, my worst nightmare would be that I forgot. Well, one, my camera, but because I love to take photos, but two, my makeup bag. I do the same makeup, like whether I'm hiking a mountain, camping, or I'm full fashion day in Paris. I just do the same makeup. And so I never travel with hair stuff, like as far as like a curler or a straightener, unless it's like I brought one for my bachelorette, but then I didn't even use it. But the other girls ended up using it. But never hair stuff, always makeup. And so I would be genuinely devastated if I forgot my makeup bag. Truly. And then other kind of random things. I am a jean person. I could sleep in jeans. I love jeans. I will never again wear shorts or like a skirt to the airport. I always think long pants because it's cold. Oh, do you? Wait, do you?
No, I no,
Okay.
I was just thinking in horror about that situation. That would be
I
awful.
did it. I feel like I've done it once and it literally was a tragedy. And I was like, why would I do this? It's because we came from hiking and it was hot. And so I still just had them on and then I just carried on, but never again. So always long pants and I'm always in jeans at the airport. So I'm passionate. One of my non negotiables is I am wearing jeans to the airport.
I love it. If it makes you feel like a human, if it makes you feel good, do it. I will wear jeans at the airport, but I always change into comfy pants for the flight. I just
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a comfy pants on the flight kind of gal. Your story just made me think of a story that I still think about all the time. This was probably 15 years ago, but one of my girlfriends from university had a long distance relationship and she had a boyfriend in London, England. So she made the flight one summer from Toronto to London, England, and she wore a pencil skirt and pantyhose on the flight.
That's crazy.
I literally think of nothing worse than having to put on pantyhose and get on an airplane. I marvel at
Oh
the
my
flight attendants
gosh.
that have to wear those sometimes. Like, that
Oh, for
sounds like my
real.
version of yeah, no, I could never. I could literally never.
Last packing thing, just for comfort. It's a little bit if I travel with Danny, he's like a furnace, and so that's I probably won't bring my heating pad. But if I'm traveling, like meeting girlfriends or whatnot, I will always bring my heating pad and my eye mask because it really does help to like block the light out to sleep. And so, a couple little cozy things that I almost always bring on a trip are those.
Oh, that's
Anyway,
awesome. I also think you need to think about how you behave in different types of weather. Some people can't stand the heat. Me, I cannot stand the cold. I am the worst version of myself if I'm freezing. And so I always check the weather. Recently, I was in Perth, Australia, and it was going to be like 16 degrees or 14 degrees. I don't know what that is in American. Sorry. Uh, but it's like fall weather.
sorry. Yeah.
But it's fall weather. And I just knew like I am not going to have a good time if I do not have warm clothes. So even though I love bringing obviously as little amount as possible on the trip, if it's cold, you best believe I'm bringing a sweater, I'm bringing a jacket, I'm bringing a scarf because I know I'm not going to enjoy my trip if I am freezing. And some people feel that way with the cold and other people feel that way with the heat. So that is my
So
one
yes,
caveat to pack lightly.
yes, keep temperature in mind. And like you can
uh,
always wear your layers on your body instead of on your in your backpack.
exactly. Exactly. So moving right along, accommodation is a big part of travel. Do you have any accommodation non-negotiables?
Oh goodness. Well, location, location, location.
Yeah.
I'm always going to prioritize location. That it's near things I want to go to, central part of town, in a beautiful area. So definitely location is something that will always be on my priority list as I'm looking for booking. What about
Nice.
you?
I controversial. I don't think I'll ever stay in a hostel ever again. Or if I do,
Ooh.
I will be reading the worst reviews first because I recently was traveling in a more expensive place. And so we were like, okay, let's save some money. Let's stay in a hostel. And it had some really good reviews. And I always check for women. It had some good reviews from women saying, like, nice location, good facility, all of this sort of stuff. We arrived and I was literally just horrified. It was like, I'm not joking. I think people lived there. And also, I think like there was a bunch of construction workers that had been flown into the country and like their company had paid for them to live in the hostel. Why do I say this? Because there was like these male dorm rooms and outside the dorm rooms it was just like 15 pairs of construction boots. And then the next room was like
Oh,
15 pairs of construction boots. And it was like the worst college common room. Like it was horrible. It was so bad.
no.
And like I went to the washroom one evening to like wash my face and there was like a woman who was just chatting away to herself in the stall. It was very uncomfortable. And so it was in that moment that I was like, I think my hostel days are finished. And if they're not finished, I'm going to go and I'm going to read the reviews and I'm reading the worst reviews first because then what I did was I did do a deep dive into the reviews and people had said the things that I was talking about.
Oh,
But they were
wow.
just sort of
Okay.
hidden. The best reviews were at the top and the worst reviews were at the bottom. So that's my new
Dang.
non-negotiable is reading the worst reviews first. And I don't know if I'll ever stay in a hostel again, honestly. It was
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, dang, I hate to hear it. And yeah, that makes me like but I think that's a really good plan to strategize in the future. Like if it comes down to it. Okay. Any other things on accommodation? I'm trying to think. I guess for me, and I know like most of traveling is going out and seeing the place that you're that you're visiting. But I do think that a little bit of aesthetics and some lighting is always good if you can finagle it. So I love a balcony, love a little patio, just a little bit of, aesthetics that makes it feel like just a lovely place to stay. So I will, take a look at those options. And if I can include it, I'll prioritize that.
100%. I love that. You want to feel comfortable and you want to feel safe. So for me, I'm not staying in sketchy places anymore. I want to stay in a place that's a little bit cute. I am with
Mm-hmm.
you 1,000%. Do you have any like mindsets or like travel thoughts or opinions that, you're a hardcore believer in?
Something that I'm very passionate about as far as travel mindsets. And it's a little bit contradicting because there is this part of me that wants to see the entire world. Well, maybe not the entire world, but most of it. And so I'm like, I got to get everywhere. Do I have enough time in this life? So that is part of me. But that I do have this other part of me that loves to revisit a place. Like just about every calendar year comes around, I want to go to Paris. I always want to go back to Italy, to places that I've been to. Greece, I feel the same as well. There's a lot of places, but I am a huge believer in it is really rich to go back to a place that you've already visited because there's less of a pressure of you have to see all these monumental sites. I mean, maybe you want to see some of them again. Like I always want to see the Eiffel Tower, but it's more chilled. Like there's a familiarity to it, and so I love revisiting a place. So, that's maybe not a mindset. Is that a mindset?
I mean, I think it's a
Like I
mindset.
guess,
I think it's the idea that like you don't have to go everywhere. You can go back to the same place and get something new out of
yeah.
it every
Like
time.
there's beauty in revisiting a place that you loved. Yeah. So I'm a believer of that.
I like that, and that actually comes down to, or that links well to what I was going to say, which is I don't believe in counting countries. If someone were to ask me how many countries have you been to, I could go back and I could count it, and I do have a little list of in my phone of like when I go to a new country, I add it to the list. But in general, I think that sometimes counting countries then becomes like a quantifiable game. And I think just because you've been somewhere doesn't mean that you've experienced somewhere. And so for me, I have no idea how many countries I've been to. I know I want to go to more countries, but my, I guess, travel mindset is just that I don't believe in counting countries as a marker of how much of a traveler you are or how good of a traveler you are or how experienced you are. I think it's really is just a number, to be honest, in some cases.
Yeah. No, I really like that.
Another one. Sorry, I'm just on a roll here. I also think that people should be more honest about what's actually going on their trips. Okay, so I am guilty. Of course, I'm posting the highlight reel. I went to Australia. The first photo I posted, kangaroo. You obviously want to. You obviously want to post the highlights, the things that the monumental landmarks, the iconic cities. You want to post these things, but I think that sometimes there's an opportunity to be more honest. Like when people are traveling, I want to see the hectic travel days. I want to see the sketchy places that you accidentally booked to stay. Sometimes the weather is crap. Like I remember when I went with my family and we went to the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland. It was the worst wind I've ever experienced in my life. I thought we were going to blow away. And I posted these photos of us like holding our scarves in the wind. Literally our everybody's hair looked horrendous because it was like standing in a blow dryer, in an icy cold frigid blow dryer. So I just think that sometimes people really, and it's good to romanticize your life. We talk about that. But I think when you're posting about your trips or when you're sharing your travels, I would love if people were just like slightly more honest about what's actually going on because I feel like that's just more authentic and more fun, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's part of it. And like those like ridiculous moments are the ones that you end up cracking up about later, just like now. Oh, love it.
Exactly.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And I also think that something I do believe in is like include your little rituals on your trips as well. Like we've mentioned before, I'm not as good at this part, but I have great friends who love yoga and meditating and who love running, and they always bring that into their trips, which I really love to see. I think it's beautiful. I think one little thing that I do that I'll always do on my trips is I know there's some people who are like never unpack their bag, keep it all in your backpack, and there's some people who like to unpack. I love to unpack every place I go. I want to hang things up. I want to kind of sit some things out a little bit. And so it's just something that makes me feel a little bit more okay, this is my little home for the evening or these next few days. And so I'll always include unpacking my stuff because it makes me feel a little bit more settled. And I like to have a little bit of that when I'm on an adventure.
So nice to feel settled. So I guess before we wrap up, are there any sort of last minute little things that you do on your trips or on most of your trips that are non-negotiables for you?
I guess other random things are I don't want to it depends on a road trip, snacks galore, as you know.
Yeah, yep,
But
yep.
if I'm flying somewhere, I might just bring like a small bag of beef jerky or something along those lines, just because if you're in an emergency hungry situation and you're like, I am famished, and you're like trying to search, figure out where you're going to go. Sometimes it's nice to have, okay, I just have a bit of beef jerky to just make me not so desperately hungry. So always bring just a small little snack just in case.
So
Um,
good.
what about you? Anything coming to mind?
I mean, there's nothing really coming to mind. If it's an appropriate hour, I've mentioned this before. I love an airport white wine before the flight takes off. That just makes me
Yes.
feel excited. It's a nice little ritual to feel excited for my trip. So that's something that, if it's in the afternoon or the evening, I'll be doing that in the airport.
Well, if
Um,
it's the morning, you could have just like a mimosa or a Bloody Mary or
yeah.
something. Yes. Okay.
Other
Cheers to
things.
that.
My other travel non-negotiable is whatever country I'm in, I'm going to the grocery store. I want to see what's going on.
I'm so glad you said that because you'll learn so much about a place and see their cool little like chip flavors and cool snacks. And yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
so good.
Um, and I guess this was back in the packing part. Bring a portable charger just in case you need it.
Always.
Non-negotiable. Always have one.
Always,
Um,
always.
yeah, I guess just always be open, like be open to where the trip takes you, what opportunities, whimsical moments that come your way. That's always a
Yeah.
non-negotiable.
And we want to know what your non negotiables are. So please share those with us online. Morgan, where can people find us on the internet?
Yes, check us out at The Global Girlfriend on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Or you can head over to our little lovely website, theglobalgirlfriend.com. We'd love to connect there and hear your non negotiables for travel. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See ya. Bye.